how to beat the odds in terms of business success, how not to fail. You don't want to fail. Failure is not feedback. Failure in business is terrible. Okay, it means that you're taking your savings, your life savings, or whatever it took you 2 to 3 years to save up from your job. You fail. Now you've got to go get a job again. That whole cycle could set you back 7 years. Another 2 or 3 years before you're able to get that money up. It's really terrible. Just like you don't want to fail in a marriage, man, and go through a divorce in your mid-40s with half your assets gone and paying alimony and child support for indefinitely. It's not something you want to do. Okay, and something really important to understand before I get into these stats is that I would not recommend entrepreneurship for the vast majority of people. But this channel's not for them. They're not watching personal development. They're watching cat videos on YouTube or Taylor Swift videos or whatever. Because the odds of success are so low. You really have to be a different type of individual. So I'm going to give you the conservative stats. You might have heard a lot of these different stats. I'm going to give you the conservative stats. 80% of businesses fail within 3 years, 92% within 10 years. I've heard as high as 90% within 3 years. Okay, so let's say within that 10-year period, 90% of businesses fail. Of those 10% of businesses that succeed, 64% make less than $100,000. So you're looking at the vast majority of these businesses, will not make more than $1 million in sales. Okay, and the revenue is not important. The take homes is more important. But most people who succeed have basically created a job for themselves that pays them, less than $100,000 after taxes. Which, if you're living in the West and maybe you're trying to raise a family on that, is not a whole lot of money. And this is because, for the most part, they're in the wrong vehicle. I mean, there's a street below me. I could do a walking tour of my neighborhood, and I would start 0% of the businesses that I see. 0%. Okay. There's a real estate agency 2 blocks over there. It's in a nice office. There's nice foot traffic. It's in a nice, well-lit area. That's a business I would consider starting. If I wasn't already in this business, I'm not doing 2 businesses again. That's a dumb idea. But that would be the only business that I would start. Okay, but there's no one outside flagging you down. I've walked by that building hundreds of times. There's no one outside selling. Okay, I can tell right now that it's a decent business to start, but they're not executing at a high level. Okay, there's hundreds and hundreds of people who walk by that, and no one's outside selling or flagging them down or trying to pull them inside. Okay, and this is why most businesses fail. One of the reasons is they're not doing outbound. So, my friends or people ask me why I'm, what the drive is, why I work as hard as I do. Even though I've got myself into a comfortable position, dude, I'm scared. Okay, I know those stats, and it's not just about getting wealthy, but your business has to be expanding and revenue has to be going up every year, so you know that it's not dying. Okay, businesses don't die overnight. They're either getting stronger or they're getting weaker. They're either growing and expanding or they're contracting. There's no neutral. And neutral is illusion. If it looks like your business is maintaining, that business is dying, gravity brings a flat line down. You have to be adding income to your business every year. Which means you eventually hit 7 figures at some point, right? You eventually become part of that 0.01%. And that's the best insurance policy. The best defense is a good offense to continually, as long as your business is continually expanding, that your business is safe. That you're keeping up with competitors and improving and taking market share from them. If it's neutral or if you're losing ground, that your business is in trouble and you're getting closer to that dog pile, to that trash heap of businesses. None of these businesses that I'm looking at in this neighborhood are going to exist within 20 years. These restaurants with the bad service, these little beauty salons, all these things, Vast majority of them aren't going to exist. So you're either moving closer towards that, closer towards failure, or you're moving closer towards success. Okay? Which is why the first thing you have to do is work like you're a fucking immigrant. You know, I was watching a couple of these podcasts of, you know, these two guys from Iran who came to America in the mid 80s. And they're living in station wagons with their whole family or whatever. And by the time the guy's 16, he's out doing direct sales, and they're animals, and they're, 24/7 because they've been through so much pain. Okay. Vast majority of you guys, if you're in North America, you're lazy, you're soft, you're spoiled. That's how I was raised in comparison. And I was, lower income than a lot of people. I had more pain in my life than a lot of people, but not compared to, guys that came over to this, to North America and had to scrap to get by, who you don't have to motivate them. They're just savages from day one. So you need to work like an immigrant. That's the first thing that's going to prevent you from failing, because make no mistake, let's say the total failure rate across 20 years, maybe it's as high as 94%. You're not competing with those guys. They're failing and they're working average hours. You're competing with the businesses that survive and thrive. Okay. And make no mistake, they're going to be working hard as well, because they understand this game. They're trying not to fail. They're trying to expand their empire. So you got to be able to keep pace with those guys, and you've got to be able to put in the work effort, until you've made your millions or whatever it is, and maybe you slow down in your 50s or something like that. But until you built up that snowball, you've got to work like an immigrant. The second thing that most people don't do is outbound sales. Door-to-door, cold calling, all that fun stuff that nobody wants to do, because there's another chapter in the business failure book that's coming up. You can't quite see it yet. It's AI and it's automation, and a lot of industries should be scared. I just watched a video of a marketing guy on YouTube talking about how JP Morgan Chase has bought a company that does artificial intelligence copywriting, and they're using it. So AI is doing copywriting now, and it's 2019. That's only going to continue. Okay, and he was trying to make the case for it's not a big deal. Copywriters aren't going to be in trouble, dude. That is a big deal. It's a problem. I could imagine that the AI is also doing online marketing, right? So if you have a social media marketing agency, you do Facebook and Google ads, you very well could be competing with companies running AI on deep learning platforms, which I don't even understand how that works. I don't think, people programming these machines know how it works, because deep learning takes over and they don't fully understand the AI. And that's only going to continue without a doubt. Now, doesn't mean to say that there won't be room for human copywriters, and you won't be able to sell your copywriting services, and you won't be able to sell your marketing services, or maybe it becomes about your cleaning company or your copywriting company or your marketing company. You manage the AI because you built a war chest or whatever. I'm a lot more confident in my business, the personal brand. I don't think I'm going to be replaced by a robot anytime soon. But one thing that I would predict is that you're not going to be able to build a business for free like I did. I originally started back in 2012 writing articles. Within the course of 3 years, it went from basically most people reading articles online to 80% of content being video. So I started doing videos and continued to do a lot of videos, because that's what the marketplace dictated. And I'm sure that as time goes on, I'll have to do videos in 3D or holograms or whatever the fuck needs to be done. I'm going to do it. But I'll probably have to utilize AI at some point. And the cheap ads that are available now probably aren't going to be available 10 years from now. Okay. You're probably not going to be, there's already a lot of competition, but I mean, add 10, 15 years to that. How many people are going to be on YouTube or whatever the platforms are? Are you even going to be able to get noticed without throwing money at it? In the same way that like you have to throw money to start a television channel. I don't know. I hope that new people will always continue to be noticed. But I don't want to take that chance, right? So that pushes me even further to the point where I'm 37 now. At 47, I really want to have that massive war chest accumulated, so I can spend the necessary money on marketing or copywriting, even if I'm, it might be a case where for me to be able to compete, I've got to run an AI machine to choose the titles of my articles or my videos, and give me an idea of the kind of topics that are going to keep people interested. I hope that's not the case, but it's certainly an unpredictable landscape to a degree. So my mentality is, get it while it's hot right now. Like, well, I'm just able to get 200,000 views a month between my site and my YouTube for free, just blasting this content to you guys every day. I mean, this is a gold mine as far as I'm concerned. So I'm trying to get as much of it as I can, as much market share as I can. I'm putting the ad campaigns together, the paid ads, knowing that 10 years from now, I might be paying 10x for the ads, or I might, it might cost me 30 grand, 50 grand just to be able to get what I'm getting for free now, or to be able to maintain my business and be able to sell those products in that ever-changing and competitive landscape. Guys like Frank Kern will tell you now is the golden age of online advertising. Basically doing what he calls intent-based branding, basically, which is what I'm doing, which is organic content, putting that out organically, and then you're able to have this list of people to retarget video ads to sell your products, or sell them, for free, like my coaching and ebooks and stuff sell themselves. So you got to have that mentality, dude. But here's the saving grace to all that.